My bad.
And that's why we are in a situation where we going to hell in a handbasket with gasoline draws on, because we have people who have not been in a successful relationship going on tour and creating the relationship narrative. So guys are literally hosting events with thousands of people having a conversation with unqualified people on the stage. And then we have single relationship coaches who are being highly touted. They're being brought on shows with 50 million listeners to give relationship advice, and they've never been married. And you have to be married, even if your marriage fails. You have to be married or have been married to be able to tell somebody how to make a relationship work.
I mean, think about your profession. Are you going to listen to the soldier who's been in for 2 years? He's an E3, or are you gonna listen to the one who's been in for 19? He's an E8. Who's gonna give you the most value? Yes,
Right.
that person can give you some preliminary information, but they can't speak to how life changing being in the military can be, because they've only been in it for a little bit of time. They can give you the entry stuff. You got basic training, you got AIT, but they can't tell you about the career.
Right. We finna get to Tony Gaskins, because Tony Gaskins got something for all y'all faith, y'all relationship and dating gurus like myself. He talking about he talking about y'all, not me, not us. He talking about y'all. So and he's got some really good takes on it. So I'm gonna let his video rock out, and y'all tell me what you think. I mean, and it's fair to say that Tony Gaskins does have a Christian worldview, but as a man, the principles are just sound if we're talking marriage, relationships, and that sort of thing. Like you it's really hard to argue what this man is talking about. So I'm gonna let this first video play out and let you get y'all's feedback on it.
Right.
So in our space here, right, who should somebody be looking to learn from? What's a healthy model of who you should be looking to learn from?
Right. First, before we get started, I want to say this is not oil on my face. This is a 5-step skincare routine my wife put in my travel bag. So,
Okay, nice. Shout out to the wifey.
I want people to know I'm not nervous or sweating. It's just my wife got this skincare, so I keep looking and seeing. I'm like, man,
Moisturize.
Well, moisturize.
Right.
Shout out to the wife. Shout out to the wife. Shout out to the wife.
We live in a society where we have out of shape personal trainers. We have broke financial advisors. We have single matchmakers. We have single relationship coaches. We have crooked car salesmen doing your mechanics, fixing your car. So we live in this world where you don't have to
Somebody
be
echoing.
who you say you are.
My bad.
And that's why we are in a situation where we going to hell in a handbasket with gasoline draws on, because we have people who have not been in a successful relationship going on tour and creating the relationship narrative. So guys are literally hosting events with thousands of people having a conversation with unqualified people on the stage, not understanding how the mind works. Anything you hear, your mind accepts it as a truth, and you have to spend time refuting it in order to go the opposite way. And then we have single relationship coaches who are being highly touted. They're being brought on shows with 50 million listeners to give relationship advice, and they've never been married. And you have to be married, even if your marriage fails. You have to be married or have been married to be able to tell somebody how to make a relationship work. And that's what's crazy, and that's what's frustrating.
To
and
be able
honest
to
with
tell
you,
somebody how to.
there was a season I sat down. I stopped talking about love and relationships because there was so many crooks, so many snake oil salesmen, and I started speaking on just business and entrepreneurship, because I probably have 13 companies, and over 70 streams of income at this point because I count every product as a stream of income. And so I went just complete entrepreneurship. But then my wife and I had a conversation, and she was like, you got to get back to it, because if you don't hold your seat at the table, the devil going to sit somebody else there. And they're going to drive people the wrong way. And so that's what brought me back.
So one thing he said that I do have only bit of pushback. He said you gotta be married to give advice on relationships. I think you gotta at least have experience in relationship. And I understand why he said marriage, because I guess that's the ultimate form of commitment in relationships. But in this era, there's a little bit of pushback I give on that, because you got people that are in long-term, lifelong relationships going through a lot that give a little advice that I don't necessarily say, okay, you can't speak on. Now, if you're perpetually single, I think that's the separation between those that are on tour giving advice as far as relationships. I think where people get the mix is there's relationship advice and then there's dating advice. And sometimes we take them both as the same, and they're kind of not. Sometimes people are just giving good dating advice because that's the phase and stage they're in, and that's where they got their experience. Other times people are giving the relationships. But as relationship advice goes, do y'all follow his line of thinking, whereas you kind of got to be in it or have long-term experience with it to really, really speak on it?
I mean, think about your profession. Are you going to listen to the soldier who's been in for 2 years? He's an E3, or are you gonna listen to the one who's been in for 19, he's an E8? Who's gonna give you the most value? Yes, right. That person can give you some preliminary information, but they can't speak to how life-changing being in the military can be, because they've only been in it for a little bit of time. They can give you the entry stuff. You got basic training, you got AIT, but they can't tell you about the career.
Right.
So I think that's where it lies. It's like, if you have bumbled through 50 relationships, you could probably tell somebody what not to do,
or how to get them.
Right. You can tell them how to get them.
Yeah.
But it's going to be real hard. You're going to be real hard pressed to have any valuable information about how to sustain, because you ain't never sustained.
I will speak from, like, I have a good friend that is a therapist, and I feel, and she admittedly doesn't really implement the things that she teaches. I feel like sometimes what to do and aren't doing it. So I feel like you can speak to relationships and not having, have success. You know what you're doing wrong for them not to be successful, and you choose not to correct it, but you can still, give the advice because
Yeah.
That's still professional, like, outlook.
And also I would say with therapists, they go through training to have an external objective view. We're talking about these people on social media that are going on tour, that are just talking, and they just have great stage presence and they know how to get hype. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, and they say some stuff, and it's just like, hold on, wait, like, bruh. And I'm gonna let Frank give his take. For me, it's, man, like, I didn't speak on, and I still don't speak on relationship stuff heavy, because even me, I'm still getting my bearings back, because I went through marriage, and then I went to be I didn't go from marriage to single to marriage quick. So I took those wheels off and was a whole bachelor, and then I had to go back to emotional intelligence. And what Desi said is sure, because it is right. I used to be able to tell people, "Oh man, this is what you do. This is what you do." Did it? I should have wrote it down for myself for later. You know what I'm saying? So when I got married, I was like, oh yeah, that's what you do right there. You know? No, I did not. So I got to talk real quiet in here about relationship stuff because I still ain't figured it all out. Because she hit me in here, she was like, he said he talking about emotional intelligence, talking about communication. He ain't communicating shit all week. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So go ahead, Frank. Give us. So do you think it should you should be seasoned in relationships before you really go out there and speak on it?
Man, the thing is, well, for one, I don't agree that you have to be married to speak about relationships. I've been married my whole adult life, basically. I don't know what it's like dating now or what it's been like. I know what it was like
20 years ago.
20 years ago. Damn, it's almost been that long.
Yes, you old, sir.
Yo, boy. Yo, boy.
Man, things were when I was dating, we didn't have social media. We barely had the internet. Having the internet in your home was a privilege.
Right.
That was luxury. So, I didn't get a desktop computer until after I got married. So I don't know what y'all folk been going through. So I can't get up here and say this is what you need to do when you're dating, because my dating advice is outdated. I don't even know if it will hold up to what happened.
It actually, I'm gonna give you actually way more credit than you know. See, bro, throwback daters cook out here, because when a man that's throwback engages women used to this bullshit, it wipes the floor with these new dudes, because these new dudes don't even want to hold a conversation. And talking about in-person interaction, it's a struggle. So when the old cats get back in the dating game, it's like, oh shit, this is easy. You know what I'm saying? Inbox, you mean to tell me I got a day to prepare myself before I go say anything to this chick? And she look good? Shit. Boy, I was out here fishing with dynamite. I might as well. I'm just playing. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Man, I mean, man, some of my PPE probably not qualified. But to your point, that is an excellent point, though, because some stuff in the principle is never obsolete.
Right.
Because just human decency is human decency. And that never plays out. Treating somebody the way you want to be treated, it never plays out. Common courtesy, respect, consideration never plays out. So, but the rest of the nuances and stuff y'all dealing with right now, I can't help it. But when you're ready to get married, I'm your nigga.
All right, we hold on. We got another guest that just joined the panel. We got another guest.
Lita.
Frank,
Yeah.
you're so funny to me.
Hello.
Hold on. So Frank, you got to Frank went and did some recruiting for us today, and so you got to introduce the new panel guest today. Frank, go ahead and give us an introduction. Y'all introduce it however y'all want to do it.
All right, so this is my player partner. Do you want me to say your whole name or your Facebook name?
Whatever's clever.
All right. So Lita. So I'm gonna call you Lita because you got Lita right now. So this Lita, well-rounded individual, and man, she just you know her line of thinking. I agree with just about everything that she be putting out there, man. Her line of thinking is straight. It ain't crazy. It ain't wacky. But I am kind of afraid to get on her bad side. So I walk a thin line because I really believe that she'll cut a nigga throat with her words.
Wow.
Oh, shit. It sound like
I ain't trying to experience that.
So she cutting with words, and Sheffy got the pistol. Okay, so we know now and we know Desi is pint size. She don't do a bunch of fighting. She don't do none of that.
You're gonna tear y'all ankles up.
But she will make a post and it will say it be loud. That post be loud. I don't know who should be subbing out here, but when Desi say something on a post, I'm like, boy, whoever that was meant for, boy, that hurt. My feelings be hurt. I gotta double check, make sure I ain't saying something or did something. But welcome, leader, welcome. We were just Tony Gaskins. We're going through some of his parts of the interview that he did on Hardly Initiated, and he was saying how these relationship gurus and dating coaches now, but he was speaking more to relationship gurus, how they're these people that ain't been married and they ain't in relationships, but they're running around the world giving all this advice, and they're speaking to millions of people, and he compared it to, you know, overweight personal trainers and scam artists that are business people giving advice. And so the question I have is, you know, is a person more qualified when they actually have some skin in the game as far as relationship, be it a long-term relationship, marriage, or divorce? Are they better qualified to give advice and out here speaking to people in mass as far as relationships go?
Honestly, I think it matters. It all depends on. All right, so let me say this. Before you listen to anybody and take in what they have to say, you have to feel like they have the authority, right? If they don't have the authority, you're not going to listen to anything they have to say. So although I feel like there are quite a few people out there throwing around with relationship advice and all this other jazz, it seems like it's just to make a quick buck, excuse me. But at the end of the day, honestly, I think it depends on the individual and what they're choosing to listen to. Personally, I don't listen to half of this stuff. But it depends on how the person may or may not want to cherry pick the information that they're gaining. It just depends on the space that they're in, what they are or aren't willing to receive. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much to say. Like I said, I try not to dive into much of that these days because I think it's all a crock of bull, but you know.
It is. No, I think we all can agree that it's and Tony is going to get into more, but I think it has become so marketable because so many people genuinely want the answers to why it's not working, to where they're listening. And then, like you said, they got you got to have the ability to cherry pick what's good and what's not. I don't want to speed up past the next video of Gaskins because he even mentions Kevin Samuels. And he makes a very good point that another brother made to me, you know, in confidence. But anyway, I'm gonna play the next video. But to a degree, I agree with him. I agree that you need to have some skin in the relationship game, unless you're a professional. If you have been trained to deal with people and relationships, then that's a way, like Desi said, her friend's a therapist. Those people that are licensed and trained to deal with people and relationships, they at least got schooling that makes them objective, and they just deal with relationship principles on their surface and whatnot. But I'm gonna play this next
Hold
one.
on, before you go on.
Go ahead.
You said something about people are looking for answers to why things don't work. I don't think that's it at all. People are looking for somebody else to blame.
Everybody
don't want to take self into, maybe I'm just not a good individual. Maybe that's why it's not working. Maybe I don't dress nice. Maybe my career ain't together. Maybe I'm ugly. Whatever that is, a lot of people don't take enough self-stock into why it isn't working. This is why my fat tail don't have no problems. But another fat woman might. Well, how you out here doing? First of all, baby, I know where I play. I know where I can get what I need. And I'm not gonna be upset with the guy that don't want me because there's another guy over here who does. So it's things like that. I think people look at relationship gurus to find something to blame because it's like, okay, well, it's the women's fault because women don't do blah, 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 blah. This is why we have passport bros. Or this is the men's fault because men don't date anymore and there's not chivalrous. And instead of calling on the phone, they want to do Insta dates and jump on social media. These people give a blame. We live in a whole society right now of just folks inundated with let me blame somebody else, or you know what, God didn't want me to have that. Girl, bye. It wasn't for you anyway. Let's just be real. But I
I
don't
li- I
want
li-
to hold it too long.
To piggyback
No,
off what you said, all right, you think of the word accountability, like this is me. I break things down to an unnecessary science, right? If you look at the word literally, it's spelled with 2 I's and 1 U for a reason. I look at myself and I turn it to you, then I go back to myself ultimately, right? 2 I's, 1 U. I feel like to piggyback off what you're saying, that is an issue that a lot of people have. They don't want to hold themselves accountable to why it doesn't work. Again, deal with people that like you. Maybe you are the problem. Maybe you do not know how to pick what actually works for you. You want to pick what society is telling you should pick. If you know you like X, Y, and Z, stop looking for an element. Okay, it is literally just that simple. Do what works for you. It's not hard.
And man, that would be absolutely great. But let me tell you, I know these dudes, and they listen. They rail against. We don't like. There are so many guys that look at a woman and say, okay, if we can convert her to think like her but look like her, she'll be great. Or we like the way she looks, but we just want her to change her hair. And then we're gonna have what we want. Like, bro, leave that woman the hell alone.
Man, these niggas from Dr.
If you just go to who, I like her. I like her aesthetic. I like her attitude. I like all this. I don't even got nothing to say to you over here if you decide you want to go to Family Dollar in a bonnet. I don't care. I mean, it looks a mess, but if you ask me about dating them, I'm like, well, I just won't. You would have to ask me about dating them before I volunteer that information as to whether I would or not. But no, dudes are out here showing up unannounced. Nobody asked them. You know who I won't date? This one. What?
Nobody
asked you.
Nobody cares.
Nobody asked you that. Thanks for the update, nigga. Like, goddamn. So anyway, Tony Gaskins also asked another question. He asked, or the guys from Hardly Initiated asked him why some women prefer hearing from men. And I kind of have my own thoughts on that, but they kind of align with his again. But I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and give y'all perspective on that. But after we listen to the video.
So in general, you think for a woman, the male perspective in terms of learning and growing, developing is much more attractive than just hearing from another woman?
Yes, on average. Like, it's some women who they respect and they appreciate the voice of another woman, but most women that I talk to, they want to hear from a man, because a man is who they're going to lie down with. A man is who they're going to marry and spend their life with. A man is who they're going to partner with to raise their children. So they want to hear about the male perspective. And also, men, we have been put in a man box to where we can't talk. So when a woman hears 2 black men sitting at the table having deep, good conversation, they're like, what is this? We got men talking. And so it's kind of like they are coming in the barbershop.
Yeah.
They're coming in the locker room. And a father can't really talk to his daughter, because if he talks to his daughter too much, he has to remove his cape and he has to show her Clark Kent. And Clark Kent may have committed adultery. Clark Kent may have committed domestic violence. Clark Kent may have done some things that it's hard for us to talk about. So I'm fortunate to have 2 sons, because I could be all the way there.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I was abusive in college. I was toxic. I was a womanizer. I slept with this amount of women.
Yeah.
And I feel more comfortable talking
Yeah,
to my
Clark Kent
sons.
actually helps you build a relationship with your boys.
Exactly. But if I had daughters, I would be in a conniption.
Man, listen. Okay, I forgot that he went there with it. And then we as men with daughters, there is definitely things that I have not even been transparent about on this, because Morgan and Michelle live, and they might just hear something that they're not ready for before I can give it context. And so he's absolutely right about that. I think men do have to take off that cape. But and I know Frank, I know you're gonna speak to that too. But in general, as far as, do women still want to hear a man's perspective? Or is the game now so oversaturated with all these talking heads that you like, you know what, we tired of men talking now? Because there used to be a point in time where men wasn't talking. Now, everywhere you look, you got Devin, you got Kevin Samuels, you got all these people, these men out here talking. Do y'all even still really want to hear men's
I know you're not talking
perspective?
about Devin from the group.
Yes, he is.
Devin from
Franklin.
Devin he gave y'all he dropped some reels earlier. He checked
Okay.
he checked y'all females.
Franklin.
Devin checked y'all females. He let y'all females know what time it is.
Ain't seen a female
Tired
since
of
he
you.
was birthed from one.
Tired of you females. But do y'all still want to hear from men?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do. I grew up, I have my dad, I have three older brothers, I have uncles, I have cousins, I have all of my brother's friends and my own set of male friends, my homies, my big homies, and just call it what it is. I value the male perspective. I can remember being as young as being in my early teens and my brothers giving me game that I didn't want to hear about how you did her dirty. I didn't want my dad to be nitty gritty about his hotels and shit of that nature. However, I'm grateful for it because on one end, it gives me an idea of how I should and shouldn't move, but then it was a way for me to kind of get more insight and information from them. Just their ups and downs, the different things that they've been through. But again, I don't mind, speak your piece. I'm not here to stop you. I just know my levels and I know when it's time for me to ejectocito. So I'm very well aware of that. I know when to remove myself. It's a certain everybody ain't for you. Every message that every man is going to give you is not for you. So you have to have the presence of mind and know when to remove yourself. As long as you have that, I can't be mad about a Kevin Samuels. I can't be mad about Pookie down the street, especially if you do not apply and you're not somebody that I care to deal with or even put on some type of pedestal. Again, work smarter, not harder.
Like that.
For me, it's different. Like I've been failed by most of the men in my life. From my father to relationships to brothers, uncles, cousins, the whole nine. So I was very young as a, late teen, early 20-year-old trying to seek the perspective of men because all I had the perspective was a bunch of women. And that's why, I'm one of those red flags, the woman who says, I'd rather be friends with guys than women. And that's just because of the relationships I've had with women in my family. And I saw the toxicity there. So it just had me in this realm of surely there's something better out there. Men just is toxic. So this is nothing, to that I lean that way because men are less toxic. No, not at all. So much as it was, I grew up without a male perspective, without a significant one. And it took me to have to engage with the notion of how to pattern my emotions in a logical way to be able to have conversations, to be able to be open and honest in relationships. And the only way I learned that was to get the male perspective. And that balance was required.
Right.
So for me, it started off in me seeking, how do I even navigate men, period? Because my grandmama raised me not to need a man. We got a whole family of single moms and women being the men, even in their marriages. And I'm like, baby, that ain't for me. So how do I change that narrative? So that's why I kind of sought the male perspective and why I still enjoy it. Anytime I have relationship issues, I'm going to ask dudes because every time I ask a woman, especially family members or people close to me, it's, girl, men ain't shit. Men this and men that. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. But explain to me logically why you feel why you feel. Can you apply any objectivity to that at all? And it never happens. Now, that's not to say women are incapable at all. It's not to say that at all, because there are some that aren't. I just haven't encountered any in my circle that are. So in most cases, I go to, let me make sure I'm not tripping and go talk to somebody who's more objective and who's going to look at it a lot more logically than I probably did in the beginning. So yeah, I enjoy y'all fools.
What, Desi? What about you? So do you still, in light of all the social media gurus, like just the good and the bad, do you still prefer to get a man's perspective, or do you look forward to getting a man's perspective as it pertains to relationships?
I don't necessarily look for it, but I welcome it.
Okay.
I I don't feel like, because I gratefully I do have like sound like women around me. My best friend especially, I can go to her, and if I'm not being rational, she's gonna say like, wait a minute, like slow down. That's not, I have people around me that are like that. So I'm not looking for it because it's not around, but it's like just to get the other side of the coin. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Desi, quick to the point. Frank, do you find yourself often? Do you find that women value the men's perspective from your vantage point?
Yeah, well, the niggas ain't retarded.
Okay, and break.
Right.
Boy,
I can't either. I cannot.
he said, "Boy, nigga ain't retarded."
It's too many out there, man. Okay, so yes, it's a great thing that men are opening up and speaking out, but what's prompting them to is anger.
Yep.
Nobody want to hear a mad nigga all the time.
Yeah.
These niggas just angry. Like, man. At what point are you gonna realize it's you? You're the problem. You're your own problem.
It's these females. It's not them.
Man, so I mean, Devin said, I'm sick of y'all females.
He said that.
Yeah, Devin went in.
First thing out of his mouth.
Oh my goodness.
But my
Steffi,
man,
what you do to him?
Who I do to who?
Because
Devin.
you always calling Devin out. What you doing to him that day?
no, not that Devin. It's that nigga down on the video Manuel.
Oh, I asked y'all if it's the one from the group. Oh, okay. I don't know. Who y'all
Oh, not him. Oh, not him.
that
Oh, I know
one.
you. Oh
I
man.
was like, wait, what I missed?
No, don't you kick them nuts.
New Devin. New. I'll tag you to the new
Devin.
Devin. The new Devin been checking these women.
That other dude, I just banned his tail. I was just done. I'm tired.
Wow.
Because nobody would talk in the group because of him.
Yeah, yeah.
And you look at the engagement of the group when I kicked him out.
Yeah. Bad apple. Bad apple.
Mm.
But go ahead, Frank. Finish your point.
Yeah, I'm cut to the chase. But man, no, it's their disposition, their presentation. If you come out the gate aggressive, then your audience is gonna be defensive.
Yes.
So ain't nobody gonna listen to you at that point from jump. Ears shut down. So yeah, I believe that women are interested in hearing men speak, but at the same time, I think a lot of women have become jaded because of either their own personal experiences or the experiences of others that they have absorbed because they've heard so much. And so now they look at men in general as a broken cistern to where whatever they pour out is gonna have shards of glass in it and it's no good. They can't drink from that well. So I think they some women come in with a preconceived notion or idea that as soon as a man opens his mouth, there's gonna be some BS coming out.
Yeah, another nigga with a podcast. Here you go. You know what I'm saying?
Remember that whole dude that he invited a guy on the podcast with him that had been in a successful marriage for 20-some years. And the guy was like, well, you got to listen to your wife and this, that, and the other. And he cut the guy off saying he don't know what he talking about. You remember that dude with the glasses?
Yeah.
That he would bring, see this whole simp. he out here treating these women right. Like he went
Oh.
off on dude. Dude has been married 20 years. And
Man,
he talking about ain't no way you got a successful relationship like that. What?
listen. So, and therein lies the problem. I hate to go back to my brother here, and he just said it clearly, man. When you ain't retarded, they listen, man. When I first started hearing so many men talking, it was loud because there was so many complaints. Now I was removed from those experiences, so far removed from their experiences that I'm like, okay, y'all tripping. Like, there's no way it's that many women like that in the world to where y'all have these experiences and y'all all complaining. And part of me still believes that, because if I say that women have control over some of their experiences based on who they choose, I cannot then say that, oh, well, y'all dudes are all victims. Y'all are just good guys that choose good women with no red flags. And so there's some accountability that comes with that. So when I was hearing a lot of this talking going on, my brain kept trying to say, okay, well, but what did you not do right in this process? You cannot tell me you were a perfect guy who did all your due diligence and you just got this terrible experience. All of y'all? Nah, bro, I ain't buying that shit. And I couldn't wrap my mind around it. So I went back at them with the same energy. Like, nah, y'all just lame and y'all just don't know how to choose. Because that's what y'all doing. However, had it been some brothers that said, hey man, I ain't know what I was doing out there and I just got. But now that I know what I'm doing, this is what I use to choose, and this is how I use I can respect that a lot more. And like you just said, Frank, when you start off aggressive and doing all that yelling, I'm like, bro, go. I don't know what you need to do. Do you need to go take a drink? Or do you need to smoke a joint? What do you need to do to calm down first? Because all that yelling and all that spitting, that's not getting us nowhere, man. Especially when I see that you don't have that same energy for men. Like that's another thing with me. Like all that aggression for women, I need you to have the same when it comes to holding men accountable. Are we equal there? And so for me, when men started, the man perspective, I'll answer the question. Yes, I do think our perspective is valid. I do think we have a lot to offer when we are on our square, when we have a disciplined disposition, and when we're not responding out of emotion. That's not saying that we don't have emotions. That's not saying that we can't be emotional. It's saying that, hey man, let's use that little rational thing, reevaluate before you get on the damn mic and go on tour and do all this shit, and before you become a Devin and just start lashing out at all these women. I don't know if anybody else got anything on it, but I want to get Tony Gaskins' last point. The last point, and it's not the last point. He had a lot of points, but one of the last ones he's talking about, since we there, he was talking about men that have capitalized off of bashing women. Now, we kind of holding men accountable now. So, brothers, if you're watching it, I mean, you can tune out if you feel some way about it. But, bro, we cannot deny that in the last couple of years, man, it's dude that are millionaires off of just flaming women up as much as they can. So I'm going to play this next segment from Tony where he just talks about men literally capitalizing off of, y'all call it holding women accountable. We know the difference between holding women accountable and just straight out bashing. And this one is about a 4-minute video, so it's got a little time on it.
Now you mentioned you said most women are delusional. Now this is the thing. I don't think when you say,
and that's a strong word, but that's from me having been doing this since 2007. That's the point that it's getting to, and it comes from a lack of purpose and a lack of self-love. Like some of the stuff that I deal with some women is just, I want to ram my head through this brick wall, literally. Like some days I'm just like, this cannot be real.
I could only imagine, and I don't think with you saying that as a mature brother, and just the way you speak to women in general, I don't think as many that's gonna be offended by you, recognizing or acknowledging the delusion. But it's an entire industry and now groups of men who are capitalizing off, speaking about the woman's delusion. So I'm just curious to get your take in general on men who make money just solely talking about how delusional women are.
Those men are really becoming the scum of the earth. And they are doing the devil's work. Because if I tell a woman, hey, on this topic right here, you delusional, but you need to come to reality. And then I'm gonna help build her up, and I'm gonna give her the game, and I'm gonna show her this is how you protect yourself from a grown boy. I'm not just gonna bash her for her lack of knowledge,
Right.
and bash her for how she was raised or what society taught her. I'm gonna be real with her, but then I'm also gonna show her the roadmap of this is how you interact with men in a healthy way.
Right.
This is how you protect yourself from a toxic grown boy. But the guys today, it's basically, for a lot of these men, it's a new form of drug dealing. It's a new form of credit card scamming. It's a new form of being a jack boy. Like, it's a new form of being a pro athlete or a rapper. It's like they're saying, hey, okay, these guys get to be athletes. These guys get to be rappers. These guys get to sell drugs and scam. I'm going to just sit on here and bash women because I'm going to rally the men who are broken and hurting. And they're going to come in the comments and they're going to clap me up and they're going to agree with me. And so it becomes this thing to where it affects all of us. It affected me in my marriage. Me knowing better, me hearing that, that's how I learned the power of the mind.
Yeah.
It's by me hearing Kevin Samuels talk even for 2 minutes. I've never watched one of his full episodes. Just hearing him 2 or 3 minutes, it made me look at my wife with a side eye. It made me it made me shift my position from Ephesians 5, love your wife as Christ loved the church, to looking at her like, what are you doing? What are you doing for me? When that right there is, it's not my call. You know, it's my call to love her as Christ loved the church, and then have an expectation that she reciprocates that. But I have to lead as the man, and I have to show that love. And then when I wash her with love, because she's created for love, if I married correctly, she's gonna reciprocate. And if she doesn't reciprocate, then
let me back that up just a tad, because the Angry Birds will not like the way that was broke down. They will not like the way that was broke down.
Love. And then when I wash her with love, because she's created for love, if I married correctly, she's gonna reciprocate. And if she doesn't reciprocate, then I know I chose the wrong woman. And then that's when I can make my exit.
See, that's why I talk the shit I talk. Because I don't care where you get it from. One, you still have to choose. You have to choose right. And the man talks about leading with love. But before I get into that part of it, these platforms that are built now off of men basically venting their anger and frustration about dating and relationships, how problematic has that become for just everybody in the dating and relationship space? I will just say briefly, I think it's become so problematic because I've talked to a lot of, my sisters, and so many are worried that when they go on a date with a guy, the first thing the guy is he's gonna be talking like a meme or talking like a post from social media, and what you bring to the table in some way, shape, or form is going to be part of the dialogue. And that's all a byproduct of angry dudes that got online and started bashing women. But these dudes have capitalized. They've made a lot of money. They've become famous. How do we reverse that?
I don't think we can.
Done.
The damage is done. I mean, to the point where we raise an entire generation of women coming behind that who actually believe a man got to make 6 figures to take care of them like that's just normal. You know, we had that video in the group where you had the women talking about, he got to make 600 grand a year. What's the median income? Oh, 250. Sis, where you been? So it's things like that that I think are inherently broken. Son, will you go away, please?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Walk right up in there. Walk right up in there.
To the point about, whether these podcasts are beneficial or men are capitalizing, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I feel like we're dealing with a bunch of men for the sake of the conversation who, like, you was that nigga sitting in class in the 3rd grade, and the teacher was like, "Hey, what's 8 times 9?" And you sitting back there, jumping up and down, waving your hand, and she calls on you, and you say 8 times 9 is octopus. This is the reason why motherfuckers don't let y'all speak. Like, you are the person who is begging for attention, right? Don't have the answer, have not been paying attention to have the answer, right? So it's a lot of people who have not had the opportunity to speak, have not had the opportunity to be forthcoming with how they may or may not feel, who are the main ones talking the loudest. And then on top of that, you got to factor in that, where is this coming from? With all of your information, I'll be honest with you, I can listen to almost anybody because I feel like almost any person, you can pick up some game from almost anybody you come across, right? But if all of your experiences are negative, if everything you're saying is you being disgruntled towards women, if there is nothing positive, sir, you have fucked up somewhere in your past, on your journey. And you got to be able to own that. Everything is not always the other person. Yes. Again, if you have nothing positive to add, if you can't say straight up, like, I ain't like her, she was fucked up, she had daddy issues, she had this, that, and the third. But if you can't find even the slightest, most insignificant, minute thing to say, like, but she kept her nails done, if you can't find nothing, sir, you are significantly a part of your own problem. So for me, that's the biggest issue. It's like, where is this coming from? So, to Frank's point, it's clearly coming from a place where it's being fueled by hurt, negativity, and all these other terms that everybody overuses and want to throw around. But at the end of the day, it's like, I can't take you serious if there's not even a nugget of genuine game, you being real about how you may or may not have messed up in the situation. I can't take you serious. And that's male or female.
Good. Sheffy, before the youngster interrupted you, did you have anything else? You better not have popped that boy.
No, I don't hit kids. But no, just piggyback on what Alita just said, an important question. I forget, we talked about this on live before. An important question to ask in that first date is, in your last relationship, what could you have done differently to make that relationship successful? Mm-hmm. If you haven't sat there and just thought about what you did wrong, not, well, I would have did more if she, no. It shouldn't be predicated on anybody else. And that's the thing. So many people just cannot take accountability for where they have wronged someone. I mean, in my marriage, I fuss about my ex-husband all the time, but I know where I went wrong. I know a lot of things I didn't do for him that led to our demise as well. If you can't think about that at all, man, this is why these platforms work. Again, it's a whole bunch of people trauma bonding.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's no different than the new version of church. Let me go blame somebody else for what has happened to me.
It's always the devil. It's always the devil. You didn't go gamble your money away. The devil made you go gamble that money. You didn't like you.
God
you
closed that door. No, baby, you was stealing from the job. That's why they fired.
Yeah. Go ahead, Frank, and then we're gonna get to Desi. Go ahead, Frank.
Damn, man, I forgot the question.
No, I was saying with all this bashing, like with these platforms that have basically, are we too far gone with these platforms that have built their brands that have just basically capitalized on bashing women? Are we too far gone? Is there anything we can do to reverse that nonsense?
Like anything, man, I think it's gonna run its course. Mm-hmm. I think just naturally, like your body fights off a virus, it's just gonna eventually cleanse itself. So I think there's gonna be remnants left, But overall, I don't think the I don't think the overall effect of what we're seeing now. I don't think that's gonna last. So I don't think there's anything that anybody can do unless you just go around and confiscate these niggas' podcast equipment.
It is something that can be done. Frank, I've been telling you for the longest, you need to put a tour together, a book.
Man, look, hey, and Desi
forever on that.
And look, no, Desi said, man, Desi hit me up and said, Desi said, we need to go on tour, Manuel. Like, yeah, listen. I said, Desi, you book the venue and I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna pull up.
Like for real, we need to be out here like Fuhad and James. Like,
yeah, we pulling up. We pulling up. But I agree with you, Frank. I do think it's going to run its course because what we have seen is the more latitude a lot of them have hung themselves. They went so far off, they veered so far off the path to where they've gotten canceled. To like Fresh and Fit did that to themselves. Nobody did that to them but them. They just got so extreme. And Kevin Samuels passed away.
Yeah.
There is a brother that I know who says that he had a conversation with this man and said, yo, you're taking on a lot of stress by what you're doing. You got to slow down. Cortisol is not good for men. And I'm going to tell you now, men choosing to argue with women, we are not built for that. Any man with any sense will tell you we are not built to argue. We can discuss. We can have a little flash here and there, but night after night, hour after hour, I can tell you now, I'd have a brain aneurysm if I had to do that. There's no level, there's no money worth that. There's no entertainment. I don't give a damn if I did actually believe that I had enough value to pour into somebody to where they would get something from it. If I had to actually argue to get it done, you're not built for that. So I think it like you said, man, it's gonna cleanse itself. And eventually you ain't gonna have nobody out here with no podcast except for Devin. Devin gonna be the last one standing. Desi, did you wanna weigh in on that, or did you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think it's
no? I have to agree. I feel like it's just gonna kind of run its course. It's really, I mean, the internet it's the internet. Unless it's shut down, things rotate out.
Right. It's almost like when that famous person, something happens to a famous person, lawyers usually tell them, sit still, don't say nothing, don't respond, don't go on no tour, just be quiet. Because there's another famous person about to do something real stupid in about a week. So just don't do nothing else stupid.
But do you, okay, so we got to think about how long this has been going on, though.
So look, I was just thinking about that, right? Not to cut you off, I'm so sorry. But I was like, a part of the reason that this is going to keep going and spinning, it's going to take some time to, work itself out. But the problem is we have this complex where we all need a savior. You need somebody that you can look up to. You need somebody that you can go to help you get through your stuff. And it's not to knock religion or any of that. I feel like part of the thing is I bluntly had to tell this to men. I have more solid male influence, tangible, solid male influence in my life than some of y'all do. So I think that for the sake of the conversation, until some men can have that mentorship and have that personal, tangible to them, these podcasts and all that stuff, they are going to continue to exist. Okay, I'm
gonna hold us to the fire. I'm gonna really hold men to the fire on this one. Do you know how hard it is to tell a 35-year-old man he needs a mentor? I'm not joking. See, you come from healthy men. You come from healthy men.
It's hard. It's the job.
Tell a 35-year-old, tell a 40-year-old man he need a mentor.
He gonna look at you like I put on your
man,
face.
I got motherfucking kids, man. Shit, I am a mentor. Boy, you bet not tell no grown man, no grown boy, or whatever you want. Man, you tell that man he needs a mentor if you want to. Man, he gonna walk, man. He that's gonna go through one ear and out the other.
That's why you can't stand. That's why you start there. You got to start them 20-year-olds.
Yeah. Now,
if you look at the generation now,
throw them away. Throw my age group. Yeah, throw my age group away. Listen. if he 41, 42, if he 35, amen. I don't know if he can be saved. Like, but if he in his 20s, early 20s, there's a window. You slide in there real quick. If he tells them, man, these women tripping, man, all these women toxic. You got an opportunity right there as a grown man to say, hey, young blood, let me holler at you for a minute. Let me give you a little game. Let me tell you about my bullshit, and I'm gonna see if it makes sense to you. You know, one thing I told my son is, I was like, son, if you ever need my advice on a situation, I said, you gotta tell me the truth. I said, if you've ever done something shady in regards to a woman and you pick up the phone and you say, Dad, I got a situation. If you're innocent, all I'm gonna be able to do is tell you, stay the course. I said, because I don't know how to guide people when it comes to innocence. But if you did some bullshit, if you was on some bullshit, oh boy, listen, hey man, I can tell you how to finagle and finesse that a little bit. And it starts with ownership, honestly. You know, the finesse starts with ownership. I mean, I don't know if that's called finesse, but it starts with ownership. And from the ownership vantage point as a man, you can start to work your way back. But that's if you tell the truth. So I can do that with my son. My son's still at an age where he can hear that. A 40-year-old man who already don't take accountability. Man, what?
This goes all the way back to, man, one of my favorite quotes from Frederick Douglass.
Oh, look at it, boy. Go ahead, boy. Black Hebrew nigga. That beard, nigga. It's the beard, nigga. That beard, boy.
Couple of hairs white too, so it really finna be profound.
Yeah. So
Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So our age group, if they gone, them niggas gone.
They cooked.
You know, bringing them niggas gone.
Give them their passports for free. Free passports. But I will buy you your motherfucking ticket, boy. Hey, come here, man. But it's a one-way ticket now. It's not round trip. That's a one-way ticket.
You stay your ass over there.
Stay, go.
Still trying to pay $100 on a spirit flight.
Get them out of here.
Yeah, our energy, men that are reasonable men, our energy should be placed on the generation that's coming behind us, because it is what it is now. What our age group or peer group or whatever has become, it is what it is. But we still have an opportunity to shape what this future generation is going to look like. If we look behind us and start focusing on molding the minds of the youth. That's the only way.
Well, hold on, but hold on. But look, man, hold on. I got Sheffy right there, and I got Desi right there, and I don't know if Lita's single or not, but I gotta make sure we get some man for them. So like, hey man, we can't throw them all away because Sheffy said she ain't dating no 22-year-olds, and Desi said the 21-year-olds too broke. So hey man, we gotta figure something out now. We gotta get some of them right. Lita, you willing to date a young one if we get them right? Or I don't know what your circumstances are, but hey, can't throw them all away.
I'm tossing away what doesn't fit. It's just that simple. The same way I get rid of a pair of shoes that no longer serve me. If it's a situation anything doesn't fit, the motherfuckers gotta go. It's just that simple with me. It's really that simple. I'm telling you, I simplify everything. If you are not gonna make it, I'm not gonna pay you no attention.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
Like it's to the point where I wouldn't mind dating, because I'm gonna date within my age group anyway. I'm 42. I ain't dating nobody older than about 47 and nobody younger than about 38. I ain't having no more babies, and I want you to already come in with your kids, and I want you to already come in a divorcee as well, because I don't want nobody starting from the beginning there. I need you to have failed once so we can know how to work together. But I need you to go to therapy. Like, if you're not actively in a therapy sessions, when we start talking, hard pass. I'm out. Because our generation was broken in the 80s and 90s. All of us got issues. All of us. We coming from the crack epidemic. We coming from the Gulf War. We coming from a series of wars that have happened since then. So we all could use a little sit down on the couch. So if you're not actively in therapy, and not know, well, I went to therapy 2 years ago. No, baby. We need to continue to work.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know the meaning of shadow work and emotional intelligence, and you can't say the words, or like if I ask you, when the last time you said, I'm sorry? Not I apologize. Not I owe you an apology, but I'm sorry. If you can't answer those questions for me, it's not going to happen. But if you can, and I can see you working through it, I can see you're progressing to be like the Franks of the world. Oh, I can work with that.
Franks.
Yes,
Ooh,
not the
yeah.
my Wells, baby. Mm-mm.
Damn. Yeah, yeah, boy. But listen.
Not boy.
Listen, boy. I'm gonna take you through some shit, boy. It's gonna be some problems in there, boy. Listen.
She said emotional intelligence, like people running around here emotionally immature, unintelligent, and constipated. That emotional intelligence is a beast these
Man,
days.
What? Sure, man.
It's bad.
a beast.
It's
And
bad.
not just using it as a buzzword, but actually have practiced it in your
No,
daily
absolutely.
life.
And it's funny. When you mentioned emotional intelligence, I was telling Frank this. We was talking, and I was like, man, in all seriousness, I'm like, knowing and doing is totally different things. And I was like, when I was married the first go around, I had it. When I became a bachelor, I didn't need it, so I didn't practice it. And so, when my wife would come around and when she'd visit, I could turn the switch on and turn it off, turn the switch on and turn it off. Well, when you get married, they're not coming and going; they're there every day. And I had to leave the switch on, and the switch, it would go on, and I'm like, well, on that, did that go off? Is it a bulb in there? The light is not on in that goddamn room. That's why her and I believe, and we talked about, hey, even for ourselves, therapy and marital counseling, like let's get it done and let's do it. Even if we ain't beefing, even if we ain't stressing, hey man, somebody just sit down and have a conversation with about the inside stuff. It's just inventory. If nothing, and that's what therapy is. If men would understand, sometimes it's just mental and emotional inventory, and you don't know what needs to be unpacked if you've never had anything unpacked. Man, we kind of holding the men accountable, which is good. I love it. That's my favorite thing to do, hold men accountable. Listen, I leave that to y'all women that try to check women. I ain't got time. You ain't finna kill me.